Be fully expected to be interrupted several times. My kids aren't quite asleep yet. Um, Trying to get them to lay down. Boy, they're ornery. Anyway, but I wanted to go ahead and come on since it was 9 o'clock, and I seen there was like 16 people waiting. So since people was waiting on me, I figured I'd go ahead and go ahead and come on. Main reason why I wanted to come on was I know people have been asking some questions about since the documentary when Carrie and them were out here um, in November, November 15th to be exact. And just want to answer some of those questions. Carrie's tried to get me to come on two different times since the documentary. And I had to back out one time because I was on the road, and then the next time I didn't even see his message till after the date had passed that he wanted me to come on uh, Bigfoot Odyssey again. So I haven't, done anything since then, any kind of interviews or anything. So just wanted to come on here if anybody's got any kind of questions or whatever, or about what they saw in the documentary or what's happened since then. I'm watching the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them as I see them. If I miss you, just put it back in there again, and I'll try to get to it. So, how's everybody doing tonight? All this stuff going on with Carrie down there in Florida with all that big time expedition they got. I mean, they got. I have some good evidence come up from down there. I want to thank everybody for their support and prayers. And hey, Paul, what's up? You know, Paul, I don't even smoke. I did that because Moggs over on the WTF, he's always lighting up smoking cigarettes and stuff. I There's Miss D, Miss Lady in the Woods. How you doing this evening? Oh, what's say, baby? What's say, Pepper? That's a neighbor's dog. They end up getting a divorce, and the dog come over here. Since moving, well, I've had plenty of issues, but none of them really Bigfoot related. I mean, just closing date moving, and then I'll just tell y'all, there's a lot of stuff that wasn't included in the documentary. I'll speak on now, and you know, we moved in September, which was kind of sudden. But I tell you what was the deciding factor. Well, the wife, man, she's the boss. But y'all don't really ever see her on camera. She don't want nothing to do with this stuff. She's camera shy anyway. So uh, anyway, we got a phone call from the school one day. He wanted to talk to us about my son Travis, the one that saw the Bigfoot with the white face, and there's two of them looking at me and all that good stuff. But he's talking about Bigfoot up there inside the school one day, and I guess he was talking about something, whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, my daddy's got guns to protect us from Bigfoot because Bigfoot watches us and all this other stuff." And seemed to be some type of concern to them that not only was I potentially crazy, but uh, I was also armed. So anyway, we had a little meeting with the school, and it didn't go very well because they had already made all their assumptions and judgments, and one of the comments that they made at the time was, "You shouldn't use Sasquatch as a as, how do they put that? You shouldn't use Sasquatch as a way to control your children or to get them to mind or something like that, or as a scare tactic." That's what they said. And by telling them that Sasquatch is watching them, you shouldn't use Sasquatch as a scare tactic to get them to mind or something. I'm like, lady, you ain't got no idea what you're even talking about. You got no idea what you're even speaking on. I said, first things first, I never told my kids that Sasquatch was watching them. My kids told me that Sasquatch was watching them. I didn't tell them, they told me. I was aware about these creatures through my kids, not the other way around. I didn't make them aware of them, they made me aware. And it went downhill from there. And, you know, there was some other shit said, but I do got a little temper on me, but I can't stand it when people just speak out of ignorance, out of assumptions. And there's been so much stuff that's happened with this Sasquatch stuff. And this went into areas that I don't even speak of. I try to just keep on focus with what it's, about the Sasquatch subject in itself. But there's been a lot of other strange occurrences that come along with this stuff. And a lot of this stuff I haven't even spoke on. Uh, Maybe to certain people. But depends on their knowledge of the subject. I just don't just speak on everything that's happened to just anybody. Um, I tell you, um, but anyway, back to the school deal. My wife said enough's enough. Put up with this long enough. Um, she said, I'm not going to be the crazy Bigfoot family every time we go to parent teacher conference. She didn't want the kids to go back to that school. She didn't want to be labeled, crazy Bigfoot family and stuff like that. And we started with the COVID stuff. We had the option to bring the kids and homeschool them, and that's what we did. And then from then on, that point, she was ready to move back to Arkansas. So, I stand by her, man. And Lord knows she stood by me. I love her to death. She's been very, very tolerable a lot of this stuff and things like that, and she just kind of blocks it out. And I tell you, I don't feel, as far as me being outside right now, I don't feel that they're around. I know that sounds ridiculous, that based off of feeling, but really, I don't feel them around. Uh, Maybe we've been gone so long that maybe they've moved on from this area from right now. I'm hoping. I know this time last year, a lot of activity. Um, a lot of crazy stuff. Right now, this is about the time of the year that last year that the mist and all that other stuff, crazy stuff was happening. The woo stuff started really picking up. And I keep saying I'm going to put all my videos into a drive and put them on. Yeah, Murray, I sure do got a great wife, man. I tell you, I get back to Arkansas from being up here in Oklahoma. She steps out the front door, man. She's so beautiful. And even though I know she's beautiful and I remember how beautiful she is, it does not. It still surprises me when I see her. This woman's with me. I done tricked this woman. I done brainwashed her because she's definitely out of my league. I'm definitely blessed to have her. Uh, she doesn't want, much in life, man. Just happy kids, and she's she's she really, man, is the love of my life. And she's not with me right now up here because we have other children that are still in Arkansas that didn't want to come or couldn't come. So she she's still in Arkansas. So I've got the young kids by myself, and I got to step up and do that shit because I can't just you know just do the daddy stuff all the time. Got to step in some mama shoes every now and then. So I brought them up here with me. This is the first time my daughter's been here since September when she left. Uh, relocated back to Arkansas. And anyway, I talked to her this morning, talked to her a while ago, and boy, she's ready for us to come home. I missed her too. I'm ready to head back, but uh, there's just stuff to do around here. I mean, like all their furniture's still in their house. They've got their stuff out of the closets and stuff, but all their furniture's still in there. We still got sparse furniture inside our house. There's still some stuff inside the shop. We got the sheds emptied out. We hauled two trailers out of here the other day, a 20-foot and a 12-foot trailer with panels on the side. This shit was stacked all the way up to the top of the 4-foot panels. Um, I Yeah, so I can't just be down in Arkansas and working and leave all this to my mom and my uncles that's been coming up here helping. So I come up here to help them get the last bit of stuff and get things and best I can. So I but that's one of the things the documentary left out. I just wanted to touch on was about the school stuff, and there's more to that, but I can't really speak on it right now because I got a lawsuit. So to be honest with you, so I gotta wait till that's resolved, till that's finished up. Uh, Before I really talk on any more of that stuff. But and that's the first time I've mentioned that. I mentioned that to one other person. Where's T Rex? Let me go get T Rex out. I don't know where the original T Rex is at, but let me see if I can find him. Oh, here he is. Hang on, guys. Let me set this down. Oh, I'm back. I don't really feel like doing no islands in the stream or not, but there's my new T Rex right there, a little hand puppet. But oh, I ain't got no eye shine. There's something reflecting off the basketball goal there. Parents' porch light on there, and there's a house deep off in there through the woods. You might see a light over there a little bit, but if there's any eye shine, that's a light over the building back there, security light. Um, yeah, that's a house through there over here. I know y'all can't see much out here at night, but the kids are asleep inside. I didn't want to wake them up by talking on the phone. Um, the documentary ended kind of like with the evidence from January 2020. And I tell you, the only thing I had issue with on the, not really an issue, I say, with the documentary was the creatures behind the leaning tree from 5 videos on December 24th. You put those side by side in a collage, and you can see 3 different ones. And, you know, the videos are short, so you don't really see much movement, but it's 3 different, they're different. They're different sizes. One's got a white face, and all 5 videos were taken within 30 minutes. So that, you know, that's definitely something changing, that's taking turns there in those videos, because all 5 videos were taken within 30 minutes. But he didn't include those because he said that, you know, it wasn't as low resolution, it was so far away. But anyway, yeah, the arm around the tree is prominent. Yeah, no doubt. And then sometimes the arm's not around the tree. The mama's got her hand on the tree, kind of up above her head. Um, can you walk back there by the lean tree? Sure, we'll go back there. And but he didn't include that. And um, there was some other stuff, but it kind of just included kind of like the shadows and stuff. But shadows are shadows. But that right there is a security light out there by the neighbor's house, and that's the corner of the highway over here. Really, I live close to the highway, guys. More close than what you would think with all the Sasquatch activity. Now, I don't know if it's got anything. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. But leaning tree's back in there. I don't know if my light will come on or not. Now it says my flashlight won't come on while I'm doing this. And well, the leaning tree's right back in there. And you can't really see it out here at night right now. I need to get a flashlight, huh? Well, I'm being careful. Like I said, I don't feel anything out here. I haven't heard anything. If you, let me tell you, when we lived here, when we went here, we lived here, before the sun went down, I had all my blinds drawn and my curtains were closed. It was mandatory. I started to get kind of anxiety if my windows weren't covered up by the time the sun went down. And anyway, man, I've got new blinds up inside the house, but there's not any curtains over the living room or the front door or over the kitchen window. And I'm gonna tell you, there was a time in the day that would have never have happened. But now I do got one. I do got a curtain up over my bedroom window, man. I just can't do that. Can't do all that. But we walk inside. House a mess. Ain't got a lot of stuff in here left. Just a few things. See if I can find my flashlight. I seen it around here somewhere. Oh well, maybe not. Anyway, I back to what I was talking about. Uh, been activity. Nothing like it was, man, when it was Christmas, 2019, when this stuff all started. I wouldn't even go outside to get a hairbrush out of my truck. My wife's like, "Can you go get the hairbrush out of the truck?" I'm like, "I will when the sun comes up." I mean, because it was just that bad back then. But I was up here around November and December. We started moving stuff, and Carrie and him was up here, and you definitely heard some stuff. I sent a video to David. You hear these owl sounds, and there's another sound that's like really weird. I sent it to him. He's like, "Yeah, that's really weird. That's very peculiar." But I never put it on YouTube because I've really been trying to be finished with the channel. Uh, and this doesn't fit into my life down in Arkansas. When I come to the property, I associate this property with the Bigfoot situation that occurred, while we was living here. So it's like you just got get activated. You're back in that Bigfoot mode. But when I get down to Arkansas, I don't hardly ever think about it, to be honest with you. And I might tune in for a few shows for a few seconds, minutes, say hi to a few people. But it's because of the people, not because of the subject, that I still tune in a little bit. But anyway, but the dogs haven't been acting crazy or strange at night or any of that stuff since we've been here this week. Nothing like that. We definitely, you see something? What's up? It's the neighbor's dog. He got into divorce. Neighbor's getting a divorce. The dog defected over here to the good life, apparently. He never went home. So, anyway. Has anybody got any questions? I've been trying to watch the chat, but I've been motor mouthing. If y'all got any kind of questions about anything, just put them up. Let me see. Sharon, you're so right. I got to where I was taking 5 medications regularly. I ain't including Viagra in that. But I will say this, I started taking Viagra around that same time we moved to Arkansas around September. At the same time, I started taking it in October last year. So hell, I blame everything else on Bigfoot. I blame a limp dick on him too. But not including Viagra, it's about 5 pills, man, I was on, and blood pressure and diabetes and all this different stuff. Since I went to Arkansas, I take no medication now. I'm completely off my meds. So I don't have, man, my feet hurt so bad when I lived up here that they would bother me, keep me up at night. And Joey, what's up, guy? He's one of our coon-ass brothers in Louisiana. Yeah, Joe, it was definitely about the kids. It was about the kids. I don't believe if we didn't have kids, we would have never knew they existed. Their attraction was definitely all about the children. But back to the meds, I was taking metformin. I was taking stuff for nerve damage in my feet and all that stuff. My feet killing me so bad. I was up to 1,300 something milligrams of this nerve damage pill thing. I can't even remember the name of it now. And took some for blood pressure and all this some other stuff. And then I had another one for diabetic related that worked with help the pancreas increase output or processed sugar or something like that. But I don't take anything now. I don't. I've still got my medication, but my blood sugar isn't like it was, and my feet don't hurt like it used to. And it just the anxiety and the stress level that I was dealing with here, I done got to where I was just blind to it myself, that how much of a toll it was taking on me to be stubborn and stay. Because I'm really bullheaded. I'm stubborn about things like that. I'm like, I don't care what it takes, what it costs. You ain't pushing me, you ain't bullying me off anywhere. And, I'm like, man, you gonna push on me, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna push back. You better be ready to duck, because I'm gonna drop some brass on the ground. I was very stubborn about that stuff. And people's like, I can't believe you went outside with a flashlight and Sasquatch right there behind the damn playhouse and shit. I'm like, man, to the point where I was fed up. And just the anxiety of always having to watch your kids so close, making sure cameras were charged, reviewing footage, sounds, and just listen to the dogs bark and wake you up every night. Man, it gets so old, and you just don't realize the amount of stress that it's putting on you. I'm so glad that my wife finally said enough is enough. I tell you guys, if I had to do it over again, I would have moved a long time ago. And I didn't want to leave my parents, my father, disabled. But man, as soon as I said I had enough and I was moving, it didn't take them a month. Or it took them 2 months to say, hey, we're done too. We're cashing out, moving too. We're moving to Arkansas also. So I should have done it a long time ago, because, man, to watch your daughter stick her head out the door and look both ways and look around before she walks outside, man, that ain't no childhood to have. My daughter would do that. That's when this stuff first started happening. My wife's like, there's something outside, because she'll stick her head out the door and she'll look around before she'll walk outside now, and that's not like her. And she'd point towards the woods and go, no, no, no. And my wife was watching ghost shows at that time, and she thought it was some type of ghost thing out there. She was watching ghost investigations on Travel Channel, and little we know there was something out there watching the kids. And I tell you, there's been a lot of positive comments and things like that. There's a lot of people, man, they say, well, blah, 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 blah. I want to tell you what, as far as money goes, I made $180 after I went on Bigfoot Odyssey and I monetized my channel. And I've drawn $100 more 2 more times. So you got about $380. That's all I made through this. This damn sure ain't for the money. Matter of fact, these last couple of videos I hadn't even been putting monetizing on them. And if it was about money, I wouldn't be telling everybody I'm shutting down my channel and moving right when they do the documentary and it's got 200,000 views on it and stuff. Plus, if I was going to do something like that, all the views and stuff are on somebody else's channel, not on mine. That ain't how you make money. Melanie Ramsar, y'all see my friend in there, Melanie? I've known Melanie for 20 years. She's my secretary for business and stuff that I used to run. I have down in Arkansas. She messaged me earlier. She follows this stuff on YouTube, and that's my good friend down there. Yeah, I hear I hear that metformin's got a lot of different issues with it, but I don't take it anymore. Uh, and I was taking this one medication for nerve damage. I can't even remember what it is now, but I was having to take a pill to sleep at night, a Ropenetrol for restless legs and stuff. And man, when I quit that, I had withdrawals on that stuff to where it was like my feet and stuff would bother me so bad at bedtime. It took me about a week and a half to get that stuff out of my system when I quit taking that stuff. But I'm off the meds now, man. So, I mean, yeah, when I was up here, the meds were getting worse and worse. Uh, I don't necessarily blame Sasquatch for it. Like they was zapping me with some shit making me sick or anything. But I just think it was just stress and anxiety. They'd taken its toll on me for an entire year. And all the people, I even forget myself, people never understand how much time I invested before I ever went public with the stuff that was going on my property. Uh, how much time invested with the cameras and the footage and reviewing stuff and trying to get answers and things like that. Like I said, the first videos I uploaded to this channel were never intended for anybody to see other than people with knowledge of these creatures that I was looking for help or advice from, and for the sheriff. Uh, and Anyway, some of my motion lights I put up back in the day. But I tell you, after I took all the cameras down, I got one camera up, and it ain't even hooked up anymore. I got a pan, tilt, and zoom right there. It's not even hooked up anymore. It's just dead. Right here's where I used to keep my Wi-Fi and all my other stuff plugged up outside to run all the cameras and things. And it's all disconnected now. But as soon as I took the cameras down, it was like a Friday, and I left. My uncles come up, were staying in the camper here. They said something slapped on the side of the camper at 2 a.m., woke them up both. And that happened right around Christmas time. But like I said, dogs out the doggy door, they're coming back outside at night. For a while there, the dogs came in at night, 9 o'clock, the doggy door got shut, they couldn't go back outside. And put a bar of soap under your fitted sheet at your feet. But now the dog's been coming in and out because we haven't been having all the crazy howling and issues and stuff at night, according to my mother. So, hey Mel, I hear you. Come on, or we'll meet you somewhere, hon. Meet you somewhere down through there. Like I said, we got about another 2 weeks here. I won't be here but a couple more days, and I'll be gone. And anyway, and I'll be gone. So it'll be my last time here. I say that every time, but this should really be like the last time, or maybe next last time. I might have to make one more trip to get some more stuff, but I tell you, I'm gonna speak on something that I ain't ever really spoke on before. And now my phone crashed, and believe it or not, all these videos that I've been sharing, I saved on all my phone that I downloaded from the app from the. Ever hear of ridiculously loud whoops? No, never. Never heard any tree knocks that I was sure was tree knocks. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I never heard any whoops or never heard any tree knocks. I have heard the long howls, like you hear on other YouTube channels and stuff, and I've heard what people describe, as like a woman being murdered in the woods. I've heard that before, and not. And many times I tell myself this one rule: if you're watching the camera, be recording, because if something goes on, chances are by the time you start recording, it's going to be over with. So, but sometimes I still don't do that. whenever that weird sound that was played during the documentary from the camera that was right over here pointing towards the house, and you hear all that the loud howls and some other type stuff. There was actually some weird sounds that was going on before that, but by the time I got the phone to start and the camera started recording, I had missed it. But that would sound like the woman being murdered in the woods, the stuff that you hear, just like something screaming, and it could have been a fox, but I don't know. But I didn't record that. But I tell you, if I had actually recorded and caught a lot of the stuff that I have actually seen or heard, man, it'd be interesting. I tell you, there was one night about this time last year, the dogs going crazy close to dark, and man, I heard them all out in the woods just stomping around, and man, I heard actual monkey type sounds coming from the woods, and I've never heard that before, like monkey sounds, and I had missed a lot of that on camera, and that's when David came the next weekend after that, and he cast that footprint out here, and it was shortly after that's when I cast the footprint the day my daughter had her daytime experience with that one. Other dogs are barking now next door. But what is the scariest or creepiest thing you've ever experienced? Well, Pork and Beans, I'm glad you brought that up because it's something I really ain't spoke on. David and Troy Hudson are the only two people I've told this about. And I've got the video somewhere. If I didn't lose it in the old phone, that's what I was getting to. I get sidetracked, but my old phone crashed, and I don't know if I got that footage. I'm pretty sure I got it backed up somewhere. But it was the night of the mist. For some reason, man, sometimes I just wake up and like feel the urge to check the cameras. I turned that camera on and started recording about 3 a.m. the night that mist come around that pool. And I don't know why I woke up. Don't know why I decided to check the live feed and start recording. But the horses, came a running and they stopped at that shed. And like they froze. Then you see the mist coming. There was another camera angle pointing towards that direction that was in the back of the storm shelter over there. The storm shelter right over here. Pointing this way towards the pasture. And you can see the horse shed back there also. And I had another camera, pan, tilt, and zoom, that was right here on this corner post that I could move around. And I pointed it back there towards the shed. And you could see 3 different eye shines up there in that tree blink at the camera. Now, it could have been something else like an owl or eagle or something like that. But the fact that you only seen those eyes 3 different times, and only from this camera angle, was very interesting. And it was going on at the same time, the mist and the horses were acting weird. But man, what I saw freaked me out really bad. And it's the only video that I have never shared with David that he requested. And I said, I don't want it on the internet. Was from this camera angle. I'll walk over here and I mentioned it today in the comments, but it really, really freaked me out. And if you look back through the community tabs, you'll see one where Steve at How to Hunt commented on. And it was the one where I said, I feel like the straw has broke the camel's back. I am ready to move from here. I think last night was all I could take. Something like that. And it's under the community tab. And Steve How to Hunt commented on that because a lot of people bring him up. But I never spoke on really what all I saw from that camera angle. But from this camera that was over here in the storm shelter, pointing this way right here, I saw shadow people. And I know that sounds weird. We're talking about Bigfoot, man. I've got a lot of anomalies and shit flashing in the woods. But, man, I saw figures shadow people. I'm not talking about the shadows like you see in that one video that everybody talks, that one of the first videos I shared that was actually shot from right here by my bedroom window, and you see the shadow approach. I'm not talking about that type of shadow. I'm talking about shadows that moved along. I'll tell you exactly what it was. It moved from this direction back in here, coming from my house actually, and it was a shadow, and it moved across the ground. And when it got to the horse, you could see the shadow almost like go up the side of the horse, and you could see the figure of a shadow figure, its arms, its head, the shoulders, the whole 9 yards, standing next to the horse. And it almost like it's had its arm like this around the horse's neck, and then the other arm went underneath the horse, and it looked like it was holding the horse. And I shit you not, And man, it makes my hair stand up on my arms right now just talking about it because I've never spoke on this shit publicly. And I watched it, and then the shadow the shadow just like went over the horse, and it was gone. And then that was one or two times that I saw it that night. It came back, same thing on the horse. And I don't know if that explains why the horses were frozen over here, if something was holding them still. But when the horse was over here, the shadow come on the ground, went up the side of the horse. You can see the figure in the way its arms were positioned. It looked like one was around the neck and going underneath the horse, like it was almost holding the horse. And it stayed like that for a while. And then when the shadow left, it went over the horse's neck. And I got that video, and I've never spoke on that shit because it really, truly freaked me out. And that's when I started talking about how in the hell am I supposed to protect my family from something like that? How do you protect your kids and your family from something like that? There's right here in my yard. Right there where the pool used to be. Pool come down after that. Mainly because my baby girl got to where she can climb the side of it, whether there was a ladder in it or not. But I got that video somewhere. And maybe it's time I'll put that out. If I find it, I'll put it up. But I'm telling you, there was two of them, two different shadows. And one of them, like I swear, it went up the side of the horse. You can see the head, you can see the shoulders, you can see the arm, the way it's positioned. And then when it leaves, it just goes over the neck of the horse and it's gone. And it was the creepiest thing. And I spoke with David about it. And David was like, can you send me the video? I'm like, I'm not sending it out. I said, I'll show it to you next time you come, but I'm not going to put it out on the internet for, you know, just to be on the internet. I'm not going to do it. And, you know, man, that was the creepiest, weirdest thing that I've ever seen. It freaked me out so bad that I was on the phone with Troy Hudson at the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization. I was talking to him the next morning at 8 o'clock, and David too. And that was the most freaked out I've ever been. Troy convinced me not to really go public with that. He said, Mark, he said, there's things about this subject that gets, really crazy. He said that a lot of people don't speak on. He said, my advice to you, he said, he said, there's other things that associate that follow with the Sasquatch subject. Obviously, because I've seen the flashes of lights in the woods. I've seen them in the sky, in the woods, up in the trees, and then there'll be activity happens. If you want to see some on my YouTube channel, watch the longer video of the light anomaly on Christmas morning. You'll see that light come in from an angle, and it hovers right outside of camera view over here. And then it seems to dissipate, leave straight up. Right after that light anomaly leaves, right back here in the woods, up in a tree, you'll see a flash of light, almost like a camera flash, go off after that thing leaves. And there's another video where the distortion underneath the playhouse that's on my YouTube page. If you watch right before that distortion shows up, there's a flashlight in the sky, and then another one lower to the ground. Then the distortion happens. Another thing is, if you watch the extended video of the mist coming around the pool, I don't know, about 20 seconds before that mist shows up, there's a flash of light in the sky. It's a flashlight, 20 seconds, it starts getting brighter over here just a little bit, and then the mist comes around the pool. So there's always been flashes of light, almost like a camera flash, associated with some activity. As far as orbs, I've only seen one. Well, man, it's not necessarily letting people control me. I've got kids and stuff to consider with this. Like I said, I've been out to issues with the school to where they were challenging my mental health and things like that. And, I've always been vocal about being armed. So people could turn around and take that stuff and make it into something that it's not. And there's other factors to that. It's not necessarily being controlled. I tell you, coming out with this stuff has come at a great price to my family and my kids and stuff. I even told Carrie that if I had to do it all over again, I'm not sure that I would come public. That I wanted to try to come out and help families in rural areas to be aware that these creatures are interested in children, and that was the only reason why I ever come forward. And it was because of people like Scott Carpenter and others that asked to use some of the details that I shared to update his website with Sasquatch in regards to children and women and things like that. And I said, I've got some evidence. I've got a experience. I've got something to say. Maybe I should share this and maybe it'll help somebody else out. That was the reason why I come forward with this. And I didn't come forward during the peak time of activity, but I'll be honest with you, it has come at such a toll that, and I'm not good with the critics, I'll be honest, that I'm not even sure if I would even do it all over again. But you can't unpregnant, can't can't unwind the clock. So I figured the can's open now, so there's no sense in in not continuing on since I've come this far with it. So, but yeah, there's other things that I haven't spoke on. I try to stay on the subject of Sasquatch because that's what got me research or being drafted into research and speaking about this and sharing things. The interviews always up around Sasquatch, but there's been things that's taken its turn since then. Paranormal stuff that I don't know if it comes along with the Sasquatch, if it's part of the Sasquatch world, or maybe it's just following Sasquatch, or I don't know. But definite things that started to occur when we started to realize that the Sasquatch were uh, were frequenting the property. And you know, I tell you, you know, it's been overwhelming. I tell you, if it wasn't for the good people, the good folks, and having some reassurance from them and some positive comments, man, I tell you what, I'd have quit this shit. Wouldn't even, I would have left this stuff in the rearview mirror a long time ago. Do I keep in touch with Carrie Arnold? Well, we messaged a little bit on Facebook. I mean, Carrie and I never was real tight or nothing, like David and I at Bigfoot and more are. We messaged a little bit. He messaged me, don't want me to come back on the show, when I'm driving tonight or whatever like that. Then, do I stay in touch with Donnie? No, and that's another person I've talked to Donnie a few times on the phone. I saw him talking about they're tearing up his lot, so I sent him some game cameras. And I I had a bunch of, if y'all watch some of my video, I talk about these infrared light banks that you can buy off Amazon that are really bright. Now, that you can't tell if they were on right now, you couldn't tell. But on camera, it lights up the yard. And I had about 5 or 6 of those around here. I mean, it made it look like daytime out here on camera, but only on camera. And obviously, I believe that Sasquatch can see in the infrared spectrum. They can see the camera infrared lights. That's how I believe they know how to avoid them. So putting those infrared light banks that come on at dark automatically and go off when the sun comes up automatically, ain't nothing you got to fool with. They're only 12 volt. And man, I lit up my yard. No more activity in my yard when I put those up. I took all those down. I give them to Carrie to give to Donnie. And I sent him some game cameras and stuff like that. I wish I had some more stuff to send him, but that's my only real contact with Donnie is just that somebody was in need just like I was in need at a time for some help, and he's on a budget, disability, and somebody stepped in for me and helped me out at a time of need when I was trying to find answers. And I'm like, yeah, I've got 2 cameras coming from Amazon, get some pictures, and I'm like, 29 cameras in the woods later, we still didn't get a whole lot of footage, man. Yeah, I'm back at the property right now for spring break with the kids to try to get the last bit of stuff out of here. But and that's what I talk about Joe. Uh, you know, Joe was a guy that came from Tulsa, volunteered to help, never doubted me, never questioned what was going on, saw obvious signs of activity. I heard him speaking on the phone with somebody that was part of his little 3-man group or whatever that, like I call them the A-team. Like apparently these 3 guys pull together money and do things to help people out in my type of situation. And he, uh, he, uh, he really helped me and my family out a lot. And I still got his number. We just, It's like once he got his job was done, it's like Quantum Leap. Remember Quantum Leap from the '80s and shit? And like once his mission was done, he just zapped out to go help somebody else. Well, that's kind of like what Joe did. Once we got some answers, we got that shadow footage out here on Christmas Day, the shadow, the juvenile, and a few and the ones behind the leaning tree and a couple other things. I didn't hear much back from Joe, but he did message me. I wish I could pull it up on my phone or I could show it to you, but we're on this live stream. But he said, Mark, I'm sitting here watching this documentary that on Bigfoot Odyssey. He said I got tears running down my face, and he said I love you, brother, and I told him I love him back too, man. Appreciate everything that he did. So he he uh, he watched the documentary too. But that's usually about the only time I hear from Joe is if somehow I mention him a little bit, like the game cameras that I sent to Donnie, a video that I mentioned him. He text messaged me the next day. He said, "Pay it forward, brother." So he watches. He watched it, but he doesn't. He's kind of behind the scenes kind of guy. So yeah, Bigfoot bothered you at all because of the children? Absolutely. If it wasn't for the kids, man, I think back at the stuff the kids would tell me, like Trevor. Uh, my 9-year-old. He was the one that's talking about the man lives in the woods, comes to my window at night, watch me while I sleep, and all that stuff. Definitely around the kids. I mean, you look at the video footage and zoom in behind these creatures. The large, well, I believe alpha male, who I call Captain Morgan, and the mama with the white face on Christmas Eve. I don't think they would have come up there and made themselves so visible behind that leaning tree on that day, except for me and my wife were gone that day doing last minute Christmas shopping, and it was the kids outside playing. I had nieces and nephews that were older than my kids out here playing, and their mom, my sister, and my brother-in-law was over inside the house over here watching them. But there was older kids watching them. But they was outside playing that day, and I don't think that I would have got that footage behind that leaning tree that day if it wasn't for me and my wife gone that day doing last-minute Christmas shopping. They was here for the kids. They weren't here for me. They might have got a kick out of me busting out the. Might have got a kick out of me busting out the door and stuff at night with boxers and Crocs on and stuff. But and anyway, it don't bother the children to talk about it. Trevor, who I see in the chat here, he doesn't remember it. And my wife started like trying to tell him details, like you don't remember, and he don't remember. Well, it's like a mental block. Now my other son Travis, he ain't got no problem talking about it. He talk about it in school. Tell anybody that listens, you know. So anyway. This definitely surrounded around the kids, but not Trevor. He doesn't remember, and Travis he remembers every bit of it. He'll tell you all about it. So anyway, these two when I was living up here, but he's usually the first one that I talk to about stuff. So anyway, just scrolling through the comments here. Anybody else got any other questions or something? Let's see, man, I don't know if it's ghost activity, but there is definitely, man, there was some weird stuff going on. My daughter all of a sudden had a freak out while she was taking a bath. She looked down at the water, then slowly looked up at the ceiling and started freaking out. And ever since then, for a couple of months, she was scared to take a bath. Like she would flip out, like holding me while my wife's trying to wash her hair and trying to rinse her off and stuff. And she was just being almost in a near panic. And wasn't nothing you can do to get her to stop till you got her out of the bath and dried her off. And it all started that one time she's taking a bath, looked down at the water and looked at the ceiling. And she, whatever it was, it freaked her out. She eventually got over it after a couple of months. But it got to where we could barely give her a bath once a week because it was like I had to hold her while my wife tried to wash her and things like that. And man, I prayed, put the blood of Jesus over the ceiling wall floor of my house and things like that. And there was something going on because it seemed like almost every night at 3 a.m. This was during the Bigfoot activity. Every night at 3 a.m. she'd wake up screaming. And I'm not talking about waking up like I got a wet diaper. I'm talking about like in a panic to get out of her crib. And it wasn't like let her cry herself back to sleep. Like it's like put her in the bed with us, my wife and I, because there was something that was freaking her out during that period. And I got this one video. You listen, you'll hear these two whistles, and she wakes up and cries each time the whistle. You hear the whistle outside. Camera picks the whistle up outside, but it also picks her up, waking up and crying inside. And that's really freaky, man. And the fact she'd wake up almost 3 o'clock on the dot. I mean, I'd hear her crying. I'd wake up. I'd look over at my phone. It'd be 2:59. It was like down to the minute every time. And, you know, there's a lot of, like I said, there's unexplained things that was going on like that during that time. And, did I ever see anything? No. But I tell you that I was aware that there was things that was unseen that I couldn't see back when Trevor was a baby. We were living in Memphis, and we was coming home to Arkansas on the weekends to visit family. And we got a motel room when we would come to town. And we was checking in this motel. Me and my wife walk in, and he just stops at the door. And just stops at the door, and he's looking up in the corner of this motel room in the corner and just fixated on something. He was playing his Nintendo, handheld Nintendo, and he stopped, saw something in that corner and would not move. Finally, I'm like, Trevor, Trevor, Trevor. And I finally had to holler at him and get him to look over at me. And then he looked right back in that corner. I said, come here, baby. And I told my wife, I said, he sees something. He sees something. And he slowly stepped over sideways to me, but he could see something in that corner that me and my wife couldn't see. I firmly believe that. And so I know there's other things that's going on like that. As far as prayer goes, I do pray over my family and my home and my property. I believe that Scott Carpenter has got it pretty much nailed down when he says that prayer creates like a bubble around you. It doesn't make them go away. It doesn't prevent them from being in your general area. It just kind of creates like a bubble around, like protection, like bubble around you where they can't necessarily, where they don't desire to approach you or get close. So I do pray over my property and my home, and I believe in that. But just like Scott says, it doesn't make them necessarily go away. But I will say this: I've never experienced any kind of aggression from them, and I have shot at them. And I have, man. I tell you right now, this time I was pissed, man, when they pushed a tree down around January the 20th or 19th or something, when I brought the kids back after being in Arkansas 2 weeks. And man, they pushed a tree down back here. And well, actually, I had the video from January 19th where there was another one behind the leaning tree that morning. I didn't see it till that night. Realized that I'd have missed the opportunity that he was out here again that morning behind the same freaking tree. And well, the next morning I was waiting. He didn't show up behind that leaning tree, but he pushed a tree down back there. I believe it was him. I didn't see him. But I saw the top of the tree fall back here out of the woods over the fence. And man, that fence is so beat up over there from trees falling down out of the woods over my tree and shit. I come out here and I dropped a clip. Pop, 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 pop. I know that pissed people off. Stuff like that. But man, I tell you what, at that time, I was very bitter towards Sasquatch. And I done 2 weeks away from my kids. And they pushing down trees on the fence line. Hell, I got a number of reasons. I dropped a whole clip, put another clip in, and started unloading, 2 30-round clips into that tree line. You know, but they never retaliated with any kind of aggression. He said, usually when you shoot, he said, they don't come back around. That scares them off. Wrong. Because I'll tell you right now, I shot at that juvenile on December 26th, standing behind that playhouse, and hell, he was back within 45 minutes. It didn't scare him off no time. And that's just one thing about it. You look at me when I come out here with that gun, I'm sitting there with a Kimber 45, and I don't know if y'all can see it out here or not, but you see the horse shed right out here. And when that shadow hit that horse shed, that thing was not moving to get away from me. Necessarily, it didn't retreat back to the woods. It knew I was armed. I had a pistol outside the holster. It was cocked. I had a laser sight on it and everything. It didn't see me as a threat. It didn't retreat to the woods. It just relocated for more cover right there and just outmaneuvered me. It has supreme confidence in its abilities. How big was Captain Morgan? Close to 12 foot. My friend Pete come up, stood behind the same tree on December 27th, 3 days after the video was taken of Captain Morgan behind that leaning tree. I took a picture from the same location of the camera, overlaid them, made them both transparent, both pictures transparent. And Captain Morgan is about twice the height of Pete, and Pete's like 5'10". So Captain Morgan's close to 12 foot. I believe he's the alpha male, and you hear about the 12 footers in this area. I'm gonna make one thing I noticed. I was watching this thing the other day. My phone's gonna go dead. I've got like 14% left. I'm gonna have to go, but I was reading a thing about the skunk apes from Florida, and you know the reason why they're called skunk apes? It's not because of the smell. It's because of the white stripes. But one of the initial sightings, it had a white stripe down its head, and that's where the name the skunk ape come from. If y'all look through my community tab and you find the pictures of the three behind the leaning tree, the mama with the white face has a white stripe down her head, and that is consistent with what they call the skunk ape. And I never knew that that's why they called it a skunk ape till recently, was because that one of the initial reports had a white stripe down their head, the witness said, and that's why they called it skunk ape. And sure enough, the mama, the white face one that was around here, has a white stripe down her head. You can see it. And it's very, I thought that was very interesting. Will I make another video before I leave? I mean, yeah, if y'all want me to. I'll go live again. I just wanted to clear up a couple things, just talk to y'all a little bit, and kind of bring you up to speed on what's been going on since we, still trying to get stuff out of here, man. I tell you, when you got a shop full of stuff in 2 houses and storage sheds, it takes a lot to get all this stuff moved, especially when you go into another state. But anyway, God bless everybody, and I appreciate everybody being here. And sure enough, I mean, if y'all make in the comments after this is over with, if y'all want me to go live another night, if y'all got some questions or stuff, ask them. I'll answer them. So, I don't have any problem, trying to respond to some of that stuff. But I want to thank Carrie and them and David and Cornell with the No Such Thing podcast. I was actually supposed to be part of that camping trip this last weekend, and I wrecked my truck. And so, just one thing. Then after I wrecked it and got it back fixed, and then yeah, baby, Trevor, call me in just a minute, baby. I got to put my phone on charge. And I wrecked my truck. Then after I got it back fixed, then it turned around and broke down. Starter went out on it. It's just been, so I had to back out on going with the camping trip with David and Cornell. But it's just one of those things that just didn't come together like I hoped. But guys, I'm gonna get off here. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good night.